We know that he went through the American educational system for 17 years, culminating with a degree from Middlebury College. And we know that despite all that, there were still questions that were fundamental to him that remain unanswered. Questions such as, what does it mean in our society to be an adult? Questions such as, how do we know personally when we have come of age? And so, like any capable, tenacious student, Andrew decided to continue his education to discover the answers to these questions. He applied for a Watson Fellowship, and when that fell through, he arranged to continue his studies under the tutelage of Malagone Sonet at Brandeis University. And in order to finance that leg of his education, he would have to work, and he got a job on a fishing boat. And in a twist that shows that irony is not just a literary device, but something that is really real, he lost that job because in a blue-collar culture, he did not know the meaning of being an adult. And that's when his life got extraordinary. Because he decided to take his questions outside of the brick and mortar classroom and turn our country into his classroom and the people in it into his professors. And he took a 4,000-mile walk across our country, listening to people and learning from them as he went. A year ago, when I first was reading this book, my 15-year-old daughter came into the room and she said, "Hey Mom, what you reading?" And I told her. And she said, "You mean this guy walked across the country listening to people's stories?" She said, "I want to do that." And I said, mustering all the eloquence I could, "I know, right? I want to do that. I mean, I've devoted my intellectual life to the study of story and my athletic life to hiking and backpacking. Why haven't I done that?" Oh yeah, because I can't. Age aside, I am too connected to this community. Beautifully, intimately, wonderfully connected. I can't just up and leave my family. I can't just up and leave you. I love you guys. And so imagine my amazement when I reached that wondrous last page of the text. You know, the one where Andrew has reached the westernmost boundary of our continent, the place where land and ocean meet, and there are gathered to greet him the people whom he loves, his friends, his family, the people he's met along the way, an elder from the Navajo Nation. An elder who walks with him to the water, an elder who walks with him into the water, and there gives Andrew a new name. He is not only Andrew Forsthoefel, he is also Hasim Nahi Nahaka, the man who walks for us. And so I don't have to take this journey because Andrew walked it for me. And neither does my 15-year-old daughter, and neither do you, because the lessons that Andrew learned are now the lessons for all of us. And I have a feeling that those lessons will not be limited to the last page of the book. I have a feeling that they will continue right here, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who walked for us, Andrew Forsthoefel.
Good morning. I know I can't really see anything because of this light, but I know you're beautiful. It's a disarming thing, right? It's a bit disarming, right? To be called beautiful. So time. One of my teachers is a man named Daryl Slim. And he's a Navajo medicine man who I met through my walk. And I talk to him a lot. I'll call him sometimes. And this is a full-grown man, you know. Call him and say, "Hey Daryl, how's it going?" He'll go, "Hello, beautiful." You're talking to me? Really? I go, "How are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I am so beautiful." And he's not joking. There's no irony or cynicism or just joking in that. It's sincere. And I think that kind of sincerity, the sincerity of an open heart, is what I was learning how to become on this walk. Learning how to put on this perspective. It's like when I was in school, I was sort of walking around with this vision or this perspective of kind of like me. You know, I gotta get to my class on time and get the grades and get my job and get, you know. And on this walk, it's like I was putting on this perspective of who are you? And can I see you as beautiful? Can I slow down enough and pay attention enough to give you a chance to show me who you really are underneath the surface of things, underneath the perfection? On this walk, I came to realize that I don't really care about perfection anymore. Certainly not becoming perfect. That's impossible, and I don't even want that for myself anymore. But in you, I don't want to know the perfect you. I want to know the you know. Which isn't really something I was trained to see in my excellent education, you know, and in this culture where you're supposed to sort of look good all the time. And you're supposed to know the answers to the questions. You know, you're supposed to compete and win. I was on this walk, it was like all of that was sort of slipping off of me. And I was getting to enter into the more beautiful world that becomes possible with this ability and this willingness to slow down. To slow down and actually look at somebody. And the thing about this perspective that I'm talking about, this, like all of a sudden you're seeing with these eyes of attention and beauty, is that you actually don't have to walk across America to walk in this way, to live in this way. In fact, I think it's imperative that each of us asks ourselves, what does it mean for me to walk in beauty? Don't wait to graduate before you start seeing the world and each other and yourself in this way. And it's got to start with yourself. Remember, when I asked Daryl, and again, this is a man who's my teacher. When I get lost and confused, and I'm like, wait, how do I be a human again? Like, what do I do? I call Daryl, you know. I'll talk to Daryl. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Oh, I'm so beautiful. It starts with you. You got to be willing to accept your own beauty. Accept your own beauty. Because if you don't, if you're in touch with your own, I'll call it sacredness, with your own importance and worth and belonging here, if you don't know that to be true, then of course you're going to feel like you have to compete against somebody else. If you don't know that your belonging here has nothing to do with what you do, then of course you're going to think you have to do something big in order to belong and earn your place here. I'm here to say that you don't have to earn your place here. The moment you were born was the moment you belonged. And there's nothing you can do to mess that up or make it better. So I'm inviting you to just kind of relax into your beauty. Relax into your beauty. You don't have to prove it or get affirmation of it from somebody else, although it's nice when someone sees you as beautiful. How are you doing, my beautiful sonny boy? That's what Daryl would say to me. I'm like, God, so sweet, thank you. My friend Pete, I introduced Daryl and my friend Pete. Pete is this big guy, almost twice my size, big beard, big man. And Daryl, they were talking, and Daryl came up and says, "Hey, nephew, tell me about your beauty." And Pete goes, "Gosh, I don't even know what to say." You know what I mean? It's very disarming. Have you ever asked someone a question like that? Tell me about your beauty. What are you all about? That's not even a question, it's an ask. Hey, will you tell me? And sometimes coming so direct in like that is a little too much, right? Like if I encounter you in the halls later today and I see you and I say, "Hey, tell me about your beauty." What are you going to say? This guy's a creep. So, although that's the intention, really that's what I was doing on this walk, was I was asking you, "Hey, tell me about your you. Tell me about you. Who are you? What have you learned on the walk of your life?" And I was seeing them again with this perspective of, hey, you are not just beautiful, but you have lived something that's important. And if I show up to you as if that were true, you might trust me with what you have learned. And again, I'm not interested in the perfection. I'm not interested in the smiley face mask. I'm just happy all the time. Great. No. I'm talking about the human struggle, the human challenge. And we've all got it, and we're all in it. And I want to know what wisdom is growing in you through that challenge, through that humanness. Because I trust that there's beauty there. There's beauty there. I think the struggle and the challenge becomes depression or anxiety when we forget that it's actually a gift and when we choose not to give it. So what I mean by that is, if I keep my struggle to myself, and if I think it's a problem, if I'm ashamed of it, I don't show you what I'm really going through, then it becomes depression. Then it becomes anxiety. Whereas if I have a struggle and I say, if I find within myself the courage and the trust to see you and say, "Hey, this is some of what I'm going through right now, and just want to share it with you. There's nothing wrong with me. I want you to see me. I want you to know who I really am, and understand that this is a part of my beauty too. And I invite you to do the same. I invite you to go with me there, to that place of deep connection. A place of deep connection that you can't really go to if you have this eternal smiling face. It's a mask, But that can be scary, right? Because what if you go there, you take that step, you kind of like almost take a leap, and you're like hoping that they'll catch you, right? What if they don't? I have the privilege and the honor to get to stand in a situation like this and speak. And often when I ask myself, what's worth speaking about? If you have a platform like this and you're going to say something, what are you going to say? To me, it's listening. It's listening. Such a sweet sneeze. Thank you, beautiful, whoever you are. I mean it too. I mean it. I mean it. I think one of the things that we're healing here, in this room, in this community, and certainly in this nation, is this disease of just meanness. And that can come out as mockery and put downs and worse, racism, homophobia, any kind of hatred. But it's the same disease, whether it's mockery, and like if I were to have teased you for that sweet sneeze of yours, that would be a manifestation of this disease of meanness. That's the same problem that a racist is suffering from. The disease of separation, you know. I'm over here and you're over there, and I gotta like tease you to feel good about myself. But this is what I mean. Each one of us is a totally unique being. Each one of us is a never-before-seen manifestation of the universe. Okay, that may sound a little crazy, right? But there has never, in the history of all creation, been somebody quite like you. That's just true. And when you're dead and gone, there will never be anything or anyone quite like you. Now, this may seem obvious, so obvious that it's like, well, yeah, I know, we're all like snowflakes, and we're all unique. But hold on a second. Let's get past that cynicism and let's get past that for a second. That's true. There has never been anything like me here before. There has never been anything like you here before. Can we walk with respect for that truth? I mean, my God. It goes back to this sincere longing to know who you actually are. I want to know. And you're all walking around with one another in the halls of your school. Each one of us a living, breathing miracle. And so today in the hotel coming over here, I got into the elevator and there was a guy there. And we both like, hey, go. This is awkward there. You know what I mean? And I was aware that I was about to come here and share with you about this perspective of trying to see everyone as truly a miracle. And that's hard work. And I fail at it every day. Every day. And I'm not saying that was a failure, you know. Seeing someone with these eyes doesn't always mean walking into the elevator and saying to the guy, hey, I see you as the miracle that you really are. And I wish you well in your business meeting. And I want to know. I want to know more about you. But I do have to go. So. It's just, sometimes it looks like that. But sometimes it can just look like a quiet respect. Really what I'm talking about is respect. The word means to see again. Etymologically, that's what respect is. It means to see again. To see again. See. So sometimes that respect looks like approaching somebody and saying, hey, I do want to get to know more about you, and I'm going to ask you a question. A question that's real and alive in my heart. I'm going to entrust you with that question in the way that I was entrusting people on this walk. And then entering into conversation. And conversation, the etymology of that word means a living with. A conversation is a living with. To truly live with. And sometimes it can just look like this quiet respect. Just respecting you. Maybe I'm not going to engage with you or speak with you, but I see you. I see that you're worthy. I see that you belong here. I love you even. I may not know the details of your life, but do I really need to know the details in order to show up with love? To me, that goes back to a more conditional sort of approving thing. Prove yourself to me before I love you. Prove yourself to me. Earn something here. Prove yourself before I entertain the notion of accepting you. No, I don't want to walk with that. I don't want to walk with that. It makes me think of a moment after I finished my walk. I had this question, how do I continue walking in this way? Because surely I don't have to walk across America to live in this more beautiful world that listening makes possible. How do I do it without wearing a sign that says walking to listen? And so I went back to my old high school and I showed up and I said, hey, does anyone want to come walking to listen with me? I gave a talk much like this one. And then I said, hey, any of you all who are interested in trying it out here, walking to listen in Middletown, Delaware, let's do it. 3 brave souls came. 2 young men and a young woman. And we did the work of finding a question, because that's the first part. You got to find your question. The question that you might even be a little nervous to ask. Because if you ask it, it's going to show something about you. Something real. Not the eternal smiling face. No, I'm great, trust me. Right. And then something real here. A struggle. An unknowing. I don't know the answer to this question, and I'm a little old. Asking a question like that, like I was on my walk. What is coming of age? I don't know. There's a vulnerability in asking a question like that, right? Because I'm saying, I don't know what it means to be an adult. I guess I'm supposed to be, but help me out here. That's a state of vulnerability. But because it's the truth, if it's the truth, then it's a position of power. You're willing to be in the truth of your unknowing and your uncertainty and your struggle. You couldn't be more powerful than that. It's the truth. So even though it may feel scary to ask a question like this, if it's coming from your heart and your truth, you couldn't be stronger. It's brave. So we found our questions, each student, and we got dropped into this neighborhood in Middletown, Delaware. I had never been there before, although I had spent 4 years living there in this area. And we start walking. We don't know anything about the neighborhood. We're walking around, just taking stock, seeing what's up. Nervous, scared, totally excited. What's going to happen? Are we going to find that more beautiful world that listening makes possible? Maybe, maybe not. Excited, nervous. Start to notice that we're seeing mostly, pretty exclusively people of color. And we're all white. And immediately our my mind starts making all these assumptions. Oh, maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I'm not wanted here. Maybe I should just leave. All of those thoughts that keep us from actually connecting. All of these thoughts, these assumptions, all these thoughts and assumptions. It's like, if you're trying to get to that more beautiful world, you gotta get through. And you can't do it without sincerity and trustworthiness. Are you trustworthy? Are you sincere? Are you ready to open and listen? That's all you need. If you got that, you're good. And they may tell you to leave, whoever they are. You may come up to someone and they're going to be like, nah, get out of here. You say, okay. Fine. But you don't close the door on them. Get out of here. Well, who are you to talk to me that way? It's like, then you're just doing the same thing. The disease of meanness. I'm going to keep an open door as we walk away. So we're walking with these kids, and I see this man, about my age, maybe a little older, standing across the street from us, a black man. And he's got a drink in a brown paper bag and a cigarette. And he's got 2 kids riding bikes around him. He's just standing there, he's kind of looking at us. And I feel my heart, like I want to connect, I want to, I want to reach out, And how do you do it? How do you do it? Even with your classmates here, how do you reach out to someone? It can be scary, So I see it across the road, and I go. He goes, okay. And I go, hey, I'm Andrew, and I'm just trying to remember that sincerity. I care, I really care. I want to know this man. Not to get something from him other than his wisdom. Not to experience something other than love. That's all. So I'm trying to remember the sincerity, and I'm feeling awkward and scared, and that's just a part of it. That's this part. I go, hey, I'm Andrew. I'm walking with these students from the high school, and we each have a question. We're just walking to listen, for our questions. Can we ask you our questions? He goes, all right. Depends on what kind of questions they are, though. I'm like, all right. Well, so we cross the street. And I felt like we were crossing this chasm, Between all of us, there seems to be these big chasms that we have to learn how to get across. Building bridges, I hear, is a theme here this year. How do you build that bridge? This is what I'm talking about. Bridge building is what I'm speaking about right now. Across there, and he goes, all right. I asked the young woman to begin. I said, go ahead. She goes, well, my question is, what is happiness? Because I've kind of forgotten what it is. Wow, so great. Because what is she saying? What is she communicating about herself to that man? A little sad sometimes. Oh, that's so real. That's so truthful. So strong. And when he heard this question, depends on what kind of question there, he had his defenses up, and then he gets asked the question, what is happiness? He went like, what? Like, I saw on his face this feeling of, you're going to ask me that question? A question that you would ask a teacher? Or someone you respect enough? Someone that you believe has lived something worthy of being in conversation with your question. You see me that way? He didn't say this, but judging by how he answered the question, he was feeling it because he dove headfirst into this question. Where moments before suddenly he was asked this question and he was spilling the stories of his life to us. He was singing his songs, not literally, but we each have these soul songs inside us, each one of you. And some of these songs cannot come out unless there is a trustworthy listener there who has asked for them. I invite you to consider those songs inside you that you may not even know you have inside you. And this is why we need each other. This is why we need to be asking each other these kinds of questions. Because there are things inside you that want to come out. And he was singing them in this way, just telling us his stories, telling us. And he goes, my happiness is these two boys right here, my sons. And they're bicycling around him. And then he tells us this story about how he was in prison once for several years. And for 2 of those years, he didn't get to see his sons, the source of his happiness. And then one day, he gets a visitation. Doesn't know who it is. Sitting with the back to the door. And he hears the door open, and he hears the sound of his son's voice. The 2 of their voices. He feels his happiness, his love. Erupts inside him. Crashes away the chair and rushes to go meet them. To take them up into his arms. And he's tackled to the ground. Because no physical contact is allowed in a visit like that. And he's then put into solitary confinement for 60 days. And we're just receiving him. We're just sitting there receiving him deeply, without judgment, with respect. And he is teaching us. He's teaching us about happiness, about struggle, about what it means to find yourself in prison, to be a black man in America today, to be a human. He's teaching us, and we're just receiving his wisdom. And a part of the reason I think why we don't listen to each other is because we're afraid to feel what we might have to feel if we really open up. Because when you're listening in the way that I'm talking about, you're opening up to receive whatever it is, and you're going to be touched. And it might hurt. You might feel something like grief. You might feel something like anger. And that's good. That's a good thing. If you're experiencing it together, yeah, that makes me angry. I'm upset and sad that you experienced that, man. And thank you for sharing that with me. And all of a sudden, that grief and anger becomes communion, becomes redemptive, something more than just some bitterness-inducing sadness. Like, oh, that's a terrible freaking thing. America's all twisted, and I can't believe you have to deal with that. screw this whole thing. No. It's, wow, I'm getting to share in it with you. And I see you and respect your struggle and your journey, and thank you. This kind of interaction is something we have available to all of us at all times. Don't wait to graduate. Don't wait to go walk across America. When we leave here, and we all start bumbling around and murmuring and stuff, I ask you to consider, am I listening now? Am I showing up with the kind of attention and reverence that each one of us deserves? I invite you to ask yourself this as we stand up and move and start going. Are you doing it now? It is up to each and every one of us. There is no leader that we can elect who's going to do this for us, no matter what party. It's up to each one of us now to see one another in this way, to open up to one another, to get to know each other. And where we're able to go together as a community and as a nation, when we actually know who the other is, because we've listened to them, is entirely different than where we will end up if we don't bother listening to begin with. And that's where we are now. Where do you end up when you don't bother listening to people? Just look around. That's what this culture is. We don't bother listening. We don't care, by and large. And here we are. Where we're able to go with one another, politically, socially, spiritually, when we have listened to one another, and before that, to ourselves, which includes all those parts of yourself that you'd rather not listen to. All the pains. You learn how to be in relationship with yourself, all of yourself, by listening. And if you begin listening to others in this way, we will end up in a more beautiful world. I don't know what that world looks like, but I've had glimpses of it, like with this man in Middletown, Delaware. After he finished answering that question, he sort of stumbled out. He was kind of like, where am I? You know? And he looks at the young man and he goes, you, what's your question? Give me more. You know, I want more of this. Who wouldn't? Who doesn't? I want to experience that kind of connection. It's like water in the desert. Water in the desert.
Staff and students, I do apologize for the interruption. Our Korean guest just arrived. So at this time, with those students who are hosting our Korean students, please come to the cafeteria. Again, those students that are hosting our Korean student visitors, please go to the cafeteria.
So we have 6 minutes. 6 minutes. I recognize that I didn't tell, I guess, really any stories from my walk. But you all read the book, right? Yeah. Well, good. You know all of it. But we do have 5 minutes. And I want to open up some time for any questions that you might have. And I'll finish. Yeah, maybe if there are 2 or 3 questions. Anybody has a thought? Yes.
I guess I have a couple. What should we bring if we want to do this?
So good, thank you. What should we bring if we want to do this? If you're referring to a long walk across America, you don't need much. You really don't need much. Just simple camping gear and sleeping bag, sleeping pad, some good shoes, maybe a couple. But really, all you need, and this is for a long walk or for what I've been talking about here, this walk of trustworthy listening. What do you need for that? And really, it's like, in some ways, who cares about a long walk? It doesn't really matter. It's fascinating and adventurous and cool. But the walk is now, and you're all on it in your own unique way. So what do we need in order to find our way into the more beautiful world that listening makes possible? First, I would say sincerity, my friend. And sincerity in this culture where we tease each other and laugh at each other believe or don't trust each other. Sincerity is a radical thing. Sincerity. I ask you to consider, what does sincerity look like for you? Sincerity. And you can't be sincere if you're not willing to be open-hearted. Open-hearted. Be open to trust your own beauty so that you can start seeing it in other people. Sincerity. Open-heartedness. And then courage. Courage. Because what if you do drop into sincerity and you do open your heart and then you get laughed at? Or you get teased, whatever. It takes courage to do it. So when you do, because that will happen, on my walk I would knock on people's doors and then say, what are you, crazy? Get out of here. In moments like that, I just had to remember that that wasn't about me. That choosing to find your way and take that leap of faith into this more beautiful world is a revolutionary act. And most people in this culture are not revolutionaries yet. They're not going to want to go there with you. That's going to go against so much of what they've been taught and how they've been conditioned. So when you go forth and you ask that beautiful question from your heart of each other, and one of your friends or someone you don't know here doesn't go there with you, just know that that's not about you. And keep doing it. Keep walking. Keep asking those questions. Keep being your sincere, beautiful self. It takes courage to remember that. Thank you. Beautiful question. Is that a stretch or a hand? I am signing books later throughout the day. I'll be around all day today. I'm going to get to meet with some of you in smaller groups. And if you want a little written blessing, please come see me. How much time do we have?
Just like 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay. One more question. Or two. Okay.
So, I understand that your philosophy is to bring love and respect to as many people as you can, which is undoubtedly an admirable goal.
Yeah.
But there are some people in the world that I think we can both agree on are just bad.
I can't hear them. I can't hear them.
But in their current state, they're just confrontational and destructive. And so how do you reconcile people like that that won't accept and just be destructive if left to their own devices?
Such a good question. Important. Yeah, I'm reading a book right now called Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. And it's about the genocide of Native Americans. And that is probably the epitome of what you're talking about. The native tribes tried all different kinds of strategies to stem the tide of genocide. They tried treaties, they tried fighting, they tried listening, they tried and tried and tried. And no matter what, the white man didn't listen. He got what he wanted. We got what we wanted. So what do you do with that? What do you do? It makes me think of Daryl, who's a Navajo man. If anyone in the world is entitled to hate, it would be him, given what his people suffered and given what he himself has struggled through in his personal life. And he has said to me, when he sees someone coming to him, when he's holding a ceremony, and someone starts berating him, this isn't how you do it, what are you really doing? No, this is wrong, coming in with that heat. What he'll say to them sometimes is, that's a funny way of asking for help. That's a funny way of asking for help. So is it true that there are some people out there who are just simply nothing but bad? I would ask you all to consider this. It reminds me of a man I met on my walk, Brian Stevenson. Some of you may have read his book, Just Mercy. He's an activist lawyer who defends criminals on death row. some of the people who have done some of the most atrocious things a human could do. And in being with these people and listening to them and giving them a chance, listening to them too, one of his wisdom nuggets that he has pulled from the depths of human experience is, we are more than the worst thing you've ever done. And ultimately, my friend, I would say that I would encourage you to keep asking that question. What I appreciate about you asking the question is that it tells me that you haven't decided yet to just completely write them off. You're still asking the question. And that's the important thing. And I also ask you to consider, if you build a wall in between yourself and them, if you begin hating the haters, and I'm not talking to you specifically, I'm talking to us. If you hate the person who hates, then you have become the person who hates. If you seek to eradicate the person who is eradicating, then you have become the eradicator. What I'm speaking to here is what Martin Luther King Jr. lived, what Gandhi lived, what many of the saints were living. It's called love. So how would love respond to someone who is just so bullheadedly not listening? Who just doesn't care? I don't have the answer to that question. But I ask each one of you to live it. Live it. And it's not going to be clear, and it's going to be confusing, and I don't know how to do it, and it's going to be a struggle. Struggle. But I encourage you to walk together. Because these questions are too big to walk alone, and they're too important to relegate into the realm of the conceptual and the philosophical. Do you know what I mean by that? They're too important. We have to live them experientially. So let's take this conversation. We're talking about it right now. What do you do with people who just seem to be nothing but bad? I want you to live a story with somebody like that. Open-heartedly, find out what happens, and then come back and tell me about it. Tell each other about it. That's how the world will change. Don't keep it in the conceptual and the philosophical. Let's go actually find out. Let's go actually find out.